Yo, what the fuck is going on YouTube? It's your boy Fennekin. Today, we're gonna do a story time, I suppose, because I got nothing better to do, and I'm right here. So, I have a story time for you guys, okay? And I've already said this before, but I'm gonna say it again, just to refresh in my memory, and also I'll go along with you guys, because there are times gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. And you're probably gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, unless you look at the title of the video, we're going to be talking about my 2019 seventh grade football experience. Okay? And I don't even know what I said because I did this video beforehand. I actually sat on the toilet over there talking about it. Um, but we talked about a lot of stuff. I think we talked about my team, how many players we had, what we faced, how we lost. There was a female on the other side of the football team that was a running back that destroyed us. How we lost by like 40 points each game. It was crazy, right? But I don't know if I mentioned some of that. I probably did. But I believe I also mentioned how there were times where cops were called on us, and it was just a crazy time, right? And this happened like in a month from now in September. It will be like 6 years since that happened, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, here we go. So in 2019, I was in seventh grade, right? Which is crazy to think about how that was 6 years ago, and I'm already a high school graduate. hmm And it's just crazy because it just shows how time goes by fast. And for my seventh grade football team, I joined it primarily just because I wanted to. At that time I was very interested into football. I do remember. I know this is very unrelated. It does have stuff to do with football, but it's more so like NFL and shit like that. I was heavily into the NFL at the time. The NFL was actually in its 100th, I almost said NBA NFL season. Right, 2019. That was the 100th anniversary, and I get like I said, I was very interested into football back then, and I was on the team. I joined the team, right? There were a couple other of my friends that were on the team, right? It was mainly because it was like I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was junior varsity or just straight up middle school, right? But it was only seventh and eighth graders on that team, right? And everybody on the team I was cool with, right? They were all cool people, and I remember uh, on our first day at training camp, right? There's like a lot of us, right? And we're just getting the feel of stuff. And I believe the second day of training camp was the day that the whole. If you ever seen, I reacted to the video a couple of times. I think it's a video I go back to frequently. It's where me and my friends are banging on the doors, right, of the locker rooms, and it's raining outside, and then there's like thunderstorms and stuff, and we're going crazy. And I didn't record a lot of it, but I do remember uh, shortly after the video got done filming and like all the thunderstorms and stuff like that, like all the thundering and stuff, it rained really hard after that. It rained hard before I started recording, right? Because that was kind of like the aftermath of me, like just like looking at stuff. But then after I got done recording, like 5 minutes after that video was finished and stuff like that, and I uploaded it, it started raining again. But it started raining like really, like it just started pouring, right? And then practice was delayed. And the reason why is because the coaches weren't there. They got there, but when they got there, it was already, it was like it was in its second pouring rain thing, right? It was like its second time pouring and stuff like that. And me and my teammates, we ran to the public bathrooms nearby the stadium, and we were just huddled in there, right? And my man Camille, shout out to Camille, uh, we were just in there. We were like in the not in like the public bathrooms, like in the actual. Well, some of us were, but the bathrooms are situated like this, right? There's also like a food area inside the I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like a little hut, right? But there's like bathrooms in it, and then nearby it is like a food area where you can. It's like in the. It's like in. It's not in the bathroom area, but it's in like the same building hut thing. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if I should have put. I don't know if I'm gonna even edit this or anything like that. But if there's a picture, there is a picture. If not, there's not. I don't know. But yeah, it was really weird, right? Cause like the more I think about it, I'm like, what the fuck? Why is there like a food hut in this bathroom area? What the fuck? Anyways, but yeah, the two bathroom doors, because there's a male's bathroom and a female's bathroom. The male's bathroom is on one side, the female's bathroom's on the other side, and we're all just like hiding in there. And my man Camille, he goes and he just starts yelling and screaming. He's like, "Yeah!" In the female's bathroom. My man, and one of my friends is like, "Bro, that's the bro Camille, bro. That's the woman's bathroom, bro. Get out there." And he's like, "My bad." Shout out to Camille though. Camille was cool. I don't blame him. This was like his first time. I don't know if this was his first time, but this was his first time, I guess, like living. I guess you could say not his first time visiting, but his first time living in the United States because he's not from here. His family is from somewhere else. I'm not gonna mention more about that, but yeah, it was crazy though because when the coaches got there, like I mentioned, it was in its second pouring, like it was its second time pouring, and we were just kept in there, and the coach is like telling us, "Okay, guys, can't practice is canceled for today. We'll see you guys next time that we see you, right?" Because I forgot when we're. I think practices were every single day after school days, but on Tuesdays those were game days, and or at least I believe so, right? I think Friday. I don't know. I don't know if Thursday we were off or Friday we were off, but I know every single day was practices, right? And I remember going home and stuff like that. I remember just like because at that point when I went home and stuff like that, it was nice out, right? Well, it was still wet, but it wasn't pouring anymore, and like the sun was beaming and stuff like that. A lot of nostalgia the more I think about it. Honestly, it was really cool, but yeah, and you know, the whole year, the whole like 2 months that I was with the team, not bad, right? Even though we lost all our games. I will say though, it was one of the most fun experiences I ever had, probably in middle school, period. I wouldn't say, well, yeah, I'd probably say like between my 6th to 12th grade, it was probably some of my most fun experiences because I did meet a lot of people. Well, I didn't meet a lot of people, but like I got to hang out with more people, got to like just be around them. But damn, bro, that whole team it was fun, but man, it was crazy. I wasn't involved in any drama, but there was a lot of drama on the team. I don't know if I said this beforehand, because I am skipping around, right? I was talking about practice, right? Next thing you know, I'm talking about drama. But there was this time, or there were a couple times where like my teammates would just get into each other's faces and stuff like that, and they would argue. And I remember one time, I think it was before a practice or before a game, no less. Um, some of the guys were arguing with each other, and the head coach, got mad. Right? He slammed the football. He's like, "I'm so sick and tired of all this bullshit. Okay, you guys are all arguing with each other, man. I'm sick of it. We're a team. We're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be brothers, man. You guys are arguing with each other every single time we practice, right? Every single time there's before a game, you guys argue. I'm sick of it. I'm done." It was more louder than that, and I'm pretty sure he didn't say what exactly I said, but it's something along those lines. And I remember hearing that because I was in the bathroom. I actually didn't see him, but I heard the entire thing. I was in the bathroom. I was changing, right? And then I heard all that. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, the coaches, yeah, bro. I don't blame them, man. I don't blame that they're all like this pent up about this stuff. I don't blame again, like I don't blame them because you're trying to be a team. We're already like, the coach knows that we're going to be losing more than likely, right? But he just doesn't want to say it to us because, you know, that's why would you ever want to say that? But it it is really like funny though how like even though like we argue with each other and stuff like that, we were still a team at the end of the day, right? Like in general, like we're brothers, man. Like we're with each other, and we'll do anything that we can to just get over the hump, even if there wasn't that much of us. And I will give my team the benefit of the doubt. We did play on that team, even though we did go 0-6. I will give this the benefit of the doubt, and I believe I did say this beforehand. We didn't have enough players In football, how many players? 11 players on each side of the field on one side of the team, other side of the team 11 players. Yeah. What is that? 22 if I'm correct, 22. I can't believe I'm pulling up my yeah, it is 22. Yeah, it is 22. Right? Just do quick math in my head. I don't know why I was going to pull out the calculator. Um but yeah, there's 22 players on each side of the field, right? Not to each side, but in the field in general, 22 players, 11 each side, 22 in general. And we had how many guys? How many guys did we have? We had like 16 or 17 guys originally, right? And which again at the same time is not enough, but is better than 13 guys, right? Because then two guys have to sit out, right, and then watch the other 11 guys, right? So there were constant times where guys had to play each game. Guys had to play both sides, right? Which is like different, right? Because you look at the other team they got like they got a full ass battlefield roster, right? They got a full on like whole like squad going, right? They got like an entire like NBA team times two, 30, right? Just students on their side, right? And then they got like an actual like coaching staff dressed up in like caps and polos and with clipboards and shit, right? And then you used to look at our side, man. We have 13 guys and two coaches. One of those coaches actually, I think both of them worked at the school. One of them definitely worked at the school. He doesn't work there anymore. And the other, I think, was just a substitute. That was the only year I saw him, 2019 and 2020. The last time I saw him was in March 2020. He was substituting for my history class, and we just hung out with him during that class. So we were just like laughing when hanging out with him and talking about the time we did in football and stuff like that. And last time I ever talked to him, he was like saying, "Hey, goodbye," and he said my name. He's like, "Hey, goodbye, man. See you soon." Or he didn't say see you soon. He just said goodbye, man. I was like, see you, man. So that was the last time I saw him. I forgot his name, and I don't even know if my friends even remember his name. All I know is that he looked like a leprechaun. I'm not disrespecting him or anything. Like he just looked like a leprechaun, a little bit, right? I don't even. He looked kind of like Ian from those Chipmunk movies, Alvin and the Chipmunks, right? He kind of looked like that, right? He looked a little bit like Ian, just a little more instead of because I think Ian had like brown facial hair or something like that. He had like red ginger facial hair. That's all I remember from him, right? Or like blonde or something like that. And then the other coach, I literally forgot his name, but I was looking at his Facebook the other day, which was even crazier. Not to sound creepy or anything, I was just looking at his Facebook because this thing was recommended to me. I was looking at his Facebook and I was like, oh yeah, I remember him, man. He was one of my coaches, and I haven't seen him since as well. I haven't seen him since like 2020. So yeah, I haven't seen these guys in a while. I have seen like some of the players I graduated with some of them. Some of them moved, but I still have contact with them on Instagram and stuff like that, right? And it's just like, it's like, damn, man, I remember that, man. Like these guys brought out some really fun but interesting memories. Not bad memories. The only bad memories was obviously we lost, right? But at least they did their thing, right? They were still supportive of us, right? I remember one time we played this one team in the rain, right? Or at first it was cloudy, but then it started to rain around like the third or fourth quarter. At that point, we were getting our asses whooped, and on our way home and stuff like that, it was dark out, right? And then the head coach is just like being like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's just talking to me and stuff like that. He's like how you been, man? I was like, I'm doing pretty good. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, we were just kind of like in the bus and stuff like that, and you know, tomorrow we got to go to school. Because again, these games were on Tuesday, I believe, Tuesday or Thursday. It was one of those. I think it was Tuesday. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what other stuff I can talk about. Okay, so the last game of the season was an away game, right? The bus rides were pretty fun, right? But um, I don't know why I said that. Let me just say this real quick. The bus rides were pretty cool. Whenever we had an away game, I loved those, right? Those games were cool, right? Because you're just in a bus, right? You get to listen to music and stuff like that, and you're listening to music stuff all hyped up, and then you're next thing you know you're at the game, right? But my last game, and obviously this is middle school, right? But I honestly probably shouldn't have done this. During my last game, I actually didn't even attend it at all. I pretended to be sick and stuff like that, and my friend called me. This guy named Braden, he called me, right? And he's like, "Bro, where you at?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm not feeling good, bro. I'm taking a poop." And he's like, "Bro, it's our last game, bro." And I'm like, "I know." And then he's like, "Oh my god, bro, you suck." And then he hung up on me. So yeah, Braden. I don't even know. I don't talk to Braden anymore. I'm still in a group chat with him. Uh, you know, he's cool, but I don't really talk to him anymore because he goes to a different. He graduated, but he went to a different school. But we still have each other's like contacts though. So yeah, but yeah, that was like that's honestly one of the things I regret. I know it's middle school, and I regret it. And I moved past it. Like it doesn't keep me up at night. Like, oh my god, I did not go to my. Because keep in mind, it was an away game, right? But it was like an hour away. It was like it was in Detroit or something like that. It was in Hamtramck, I should say, right? Or I believe Hamtramck. It was somewhere in Detroit, right? I'm like, whoa, bro. I'm not trying to like go like an hour away. And I remember just like going with my dad, rest in peace. I remember going with my dad to pick up water, right? Because there was this place nearby that had water where I used to live at. This place had water, right? And it looked like it was gonna rain out anyways. Like I remember the day it was like cloudy and stuff like that. I remember looking out my window, not at the window, but I remember looking out, um, like peeking out by the car because I was picking up a jug to take it into the place to put water into it, right? And then I remember watching the bus uh, on the main road just drive by, going. I think they were like heading to the highway or something like that. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, they definitely left without me. And then yeah, I kind of just stayed, and then I went home, and then I watched TV a little bit. I remember watching. I think it was Donkey Games. He was playing the WWE 2K20 game, where I think it was the game that wasn't good or something like that, or something like that. Like it had like a lot of glitches and stuff like that. I remember watching it that day or something like that. But yeah, I don't regret it. I don't really. Not that I don't regret it. Not that I like. I don't regret it, but I also do kind of regret it because it's like, I should have been there. It's the last game, right? But at the same time, though, I knew we were gonna lose. I know it was gonna rain, right? And I promise you, like, if this was high school, and if our team sucked in high school, right, I wouldn't have skipped out. I would have been with my brothers, right? Because at the same time, at the end of I'm pretty sure at the end of the season, at the end of the game, the coach went to us. The coach probably went to the team and was like, "Hey, you guys did, well this season. Unfortunately, we couldn't get anything over the hump, but it is what it is." I'm pretty sure he said that to them, and then, it is what it is, right? He's like, "Hey, I'm proud of all of you guys. Okay, I'm proud of all of you. Yes, we did not win a single game this year, but I am proud of you guys." I'm pretty sure he said something like that, after, you know, they were like on the bus or like they were out or something like that. I don't know, right? But yeah, if this ever did happen in high school and I did play high school football for some reason, if I did, right, and then the coach, like our team just sucked for some reason, right? I don't know why our team would suck, but if we sucked for some reason and our coach, and like the rest of the team like had an away game, I would have joined them. Even if it was a home game, I would have joined them and be like, hey, I'm not skipping out on this, all right? And but yeah, um, I get why I skipped out, but it is what it is, right? You know, but honestly though, those memories though of walking home, going through that area, man, those bring back a lot of memories, bro. I honestly miss that time. But yeah, I'm graduated now, so I can't even experience that anymore, unless like I for some reason go back to high school. But I graduated. I have my diploma in my room, right? And also, why would I want to go back to high school, man? What the fuck, man? I'm gonna be, you know, I have friends in high school still right now, but like, I don't really. It's not really worth going back though. Got to look forward ahead into the future. What are some other things I could talk about? Oh yeah, okay. So, uh, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this already, but I'm gonna say this again. During, before a practice, right? Some of the teammates, right, were just talking to each other, but they looked like they were like verbally, verbally getting into an argument, like pretty bad. Next thing you know, it looked like a physical argument, right? Where they started like swinging at each other or something like that, or like getting chest to chest like into each other's faces and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure somebody, it was like maybe like somebody nearby or whatever. I'm not gonna assume. I'm not gonna be like, hey, it was so and so. But I'm probably gonna say that anyways. It was probably like an older white person that saw us, thought we were doing a bunch of crazy shit. Keep in mind, the two people that were getting into an argument or like getting to each other's faces were two black people, right? The teammates were black, right? And they're cool, right? Shout out to them. I'm not gonna say their names, but they were both black, right? And I'm pretty sure an older white person probably got scared. It was like, oh my god, I don't want this to happen. So then they called. I understand their safety and I appreciate it. At the same time, though, nothing crazy is happening, right? But then the cops roll up, right? We were confused. I think like this is like a few minutes after everything calmed down. We see the cops roll up. We just thought they were gonna like pass through and like just go through us or something like that. But no, they stopped at our practice facility, right? The coaches are still not here, right? We're confused. I'm sitting nearby a pole with a couple of my friends. We're just standing and sitting there, just talking, chilling. And then the cops like they go talk to some of the teammates. They go talk to us, asking us what's happened. And one of the teammates is like, yeah, there was just like a little bit of like just like an argument going on. Nothing too crazy though. We were just chilling here, and it was just like a little bit of like team drama going on. It's pretty common though. And the cop is like, okay, okay, okay. And then the cops are like talking to like everybody else. And then I believe the cops left or they stayed there until the coaches arrived. But I believe they left. But then somebody on our team told the coaches about it, and then I think the coach got pissed. The head coach got pissed real bad, right? He's like, I'm so sick and tired of you guys, man. You got the cops called on you. What's going on? And we're like, hey, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And I get understand. I listen. I like I mentioned. I understand the safety that they thought of us. At the same time, though, it's like, yo, man, we have all this stuff happening, man. There's no reason to call the cops on us, man. I don't think if there's a fight that's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Okay. Yes, it's good to have the cops involved and stuff like that. But at the same time, though, it can like that, right? And again, she didn't know that more than likely, or whoever called the cops didn't know that. Maybe it was one of our teammates that called the cops. Who knows, right? Same time, it's just you know, I keep on saying same time. That's my fault. Just thing in general is just it is what it is, right? What's something else I can talk about? Because it's just been like okay, so why we had 13 guys on our team instead of like 17 guys. Again, I've been saying this for like the past 5 times. I'm pretty sure I said this beforehand, right? But I believe that the reason why we had 13 guys instead of 17 guys is just guys just didn't want to play football, right? Which I guess makes sense, but what we originally had like 17 to 18 guys, right? But they all did different things. Like we all were there at the original football practice thing. Even in the rain video, you could see some of them are there, right? But then by the start of the season, some just like kind of dwindled off. Like some just like fell like like flies. They dropped like flies, right? Um, we had 3 guys, right? I'll just mention them by like their short name. We had Cam, we had Tay, and we had Camille. Right? Well, that's his full name. We had Cam, we had Tay, and that's Camille. Cam had fencing, because that's our middle school had fencing. Believe it or not, right? I know you probably think I'm lying. No, I'm being dead serious. I don't know if the school still has fencing or not, but we had fencing, right? And he did fencing, right? So he didn't show up to practice. Tay, I think reason why he stopped showing up is because he didn't have a physical. I remember one time me and him had to sit out of practice because we didn't have our physical. I got my physical, but I don't know if he got his physical, so he didn't show up to practice after that. And then I think Camille he just stopped showing up, right? And then my homie Mikey, shout out to Mikey. He originally was on our team, and he originally played like the first game or first 2 games. He got an interception. I do remember that, but I think it's just because of his grades he couldn't play anymore, right? So okay, so that's what about like 13 guys were down or something like that, right? Keep in mind this is middle school football. None of us know how to kick a football. right? So constantly, right? If you're wondering why our scores are so high, it's because there was always 2 point conversions. Nobody knew how to kick in middle school football, at least in our area, right, or wherever the fuck we're from, right? And you know, I'm saying middle school football, high school football, it's different. People actually know how to professionally kick, not professionally kick, but you know how to kick a football, right? At least like straight, and they actually practice that, right? And a lot of our guys, and the thing is that the guys that we needed, uh, Mikey had that cornerback body, like that cornerback safety. He had that body to like do that, but because without him, we kind of struggled at that area a little bit. And Cam, Tay, and Camille, we needed them because of their bodies. I vividly remember my head coach, right, saying that we needed them back on our team because we needed their bodies, right? We need their bodies, which is true. We absolutely did need their bodies on offense and defensive lines, right? They could block, they could run past guys, right? They could tackle guys, right? And because of their bodies, they could, be in that area, right? But they had put pressure on me. Right? I had to play the defensive and offensive line position, right? Me and one of my guys, me and one of my friends, right? We had a block. We remember one time we blocked this one fat kid, right? We had to constantly block them big ass fat kids, bro. And they're not even like big fat. They're like actually like they should be in like high school, bro. Like goddamn, these kids probably pay rent and shit like that. Probably got like a kid and like a dog and like a wife and like a nice house, or and they drive like a Subaru or like a Ford, which is crazy. Even though they have a nice house, they drive that, which is fine, I guess. Right? You got to save that money, right? But at the same time, I need to stop saying that. Just in general, it's crazy how you have like these big kids, right? And then you expect us to block them. Bro, these kids were big, bro. It's like, yo, damn, bro. You guys are in middle school. You guys should not be looking like this, bro. Your parents should be arrested for child abuse. Because, damn, you're big as shit, right? No offense, but I'm just saying. That's like, these kids were like big, bro. But I did try to help up one of the kids, though. He was like, I'm good, I'm good. So yeah, I was too nice. I'm still nice. I hate saying that out loud because a lot of people who say they're nice generally tend to not be nice, right? They just say that just to say that, right? But it's like, yo, you're not even nice, bro. You just say that just to say that, right? But then, right? Like I cared for the other team. You're not supposed to care about the other team, bro. I mean, you are, but at the same time, you aren't, bro. You're supposed to play mean. You're supposed to play rough. You're supposed to play out the line. Yeah, I don't even know what the hell that was. But um, yeah. So thank you to those guys for having me play the defensive and offensive line position. I played like a bunch of positions. I had to play middle linebacker. I had to play right outside linebacker. I had to play offensive guard. I had to play defensive defensive tackle and defensive end. I had to play. I believe there was one time where I had to play a fullback. And then there was another time I had to play cornerback. No, not cornerback. I think it was cornerback because I was on my man indirectly. I wasn't a safety that was in one area. I do remember playing cornerback that one time. It was a home game. I remember talking shit with the wide receiver, right? And then I remember like giving him a fist bump, and then he gave me a fist bump back. And then I remember guarding him, and then I was just on him like glue, right? But then the quarterback threw him a pass, and then he didn't catch it, and then the quarterback got mad at him. He's like, "What are you doing?" And that shit was pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, right? Because what was he doing, man? I'm pretty. You're like, "Oh my god, what are you doing? You're letting him. He's guarding you, and you let him do that to you. How did you not get that? Oh my god, he's guarding you, or something like that. I don't even know. But yeah, how did you not get that, man? I'm guarding you, man, and you didn't catch that ball. Though honestly, on the quarterback, though the quarterback can't throw for shit because that pass was low, bro. How the fuck is the wide receiver gonna catch that, bro? That was a low pass. You threw that to the ground, my man. But yeah. So and that was just some like other football stuff I had to get off my mind. I'm pretty sure I've been saying this for the past 6, 7, 8 times already. That I've already probably said this beforehand, but you know because it is kind of fading. It's not fading on my memory because I do remember it vividly a lot. It's just because like there's so much stuff I can just talk about where it's like, yeah, I have a lot of stories, man. I have a lot of stories. But yeah. So football, 2019 middle school. That was an interesting time. Really interesting time. Anyways, I'm gonna go now. Take care. 2019 football story at your rescue.